Now, from 24-hour cable news to YouTube and even Twitter, today's mass media can turn disasters into international events within just minutes. And many have wondered about the relationship between this kind of media exposure and also the negative impact it has on our society, especially our children. What would happen to viewers' mental and physical health? Cassandra Putranto, who is a psychologist, will explain to us in detail. Hi.
Hi, good
nice
morning.
to see you again. Now, how bad is it? How bad does it affect us, seeing, such horrific events?
Well, just like food, when food enters our stomach, so it is this stimulation can bring some impacts to psychological. So because it comes from the eyes through the brain and the auditorial stimulation, so it will be recorded and kept in the memories. So one or two impact is that many people, individual can get horrified. They can get increase their anxiety. And the third, but mostly happen to people which is not realized by a lot of people, is that some people may become radicalized because of this.
Okay.
So a lot of people just know the second and the first and the second one is the reason why this kind of stimulation is not good. But research has shown that the first segment is just being afraid, horrified, anxious, panic. But the third one is just like a silent killer in society, because they are adopting, they're taking all of the stimulation, the content, the negative content, yes, also information, also the pictures, and they're becoming more radical. Some of them may becoming those individuals who's been recruited to be more radical. So when we are seeing people just spreading the information without realizing that they are not only spreading the terror and horrific pictures, but they're also becoming the part of the terrorism itself.
So they're actually motivating other people to actually become a terror. And do these people actually know that they're being radicalized? Do they actually know that they're actually going through this phase?
Sometimes they don't realize that.
They don't realize it.
Yeah. So well, if we divide this kind of people who firstly watch and firstly acknowledge of this incident, the bombing incident. So mostly the reaction was just surprised, and then trying to inform other people, and without their knowledge, they are trying to spread it because they are panic, and they are spreading the horrific incidents, but they don't realize that they are actually being part of it.
Right.
Because some of the main ways of these people recruiting people is through exposing negative and radical content. So when people are exposed into this, the third segment is just cannot really process the information, and they just becoming attracted and motivated to watch again and again. And somehow the content itself also come with a message, even maybe about the terror, about the values, about the religious message that they would like to share. And most of them are just going into the brain like that, and they becoming radicalized
without them realizing. But does this happen in a long term, or is it short term?
Well, it depends on some people, because the research just shown that mostly some terrorists, when they are becoming radical, the firstly they are being recruited. The secondly is they're being some kind of brainwash, and the brainwash process is through seeing this kind of radical content.
The suffering of people as well.
Yes, when they see people are suffering, so they would like to know more and more. So the message is just getting into the brain piece by piece. And if they see this more often, especially for children, when we talk about spreading the information without realizing the impact of it, sometimes Indonesian people just don't realize that the majority, the user of social media are also children. This is a challenge actually, because we have to accept the fact that even though that it's not right, but mostly children, Indonesian children, are having social media's
addiction,
some kind of that,
or exposure.
Yes. So they do have the social medias, even though that they are not allowed to have them, because some social medias, just like Facebook, has certain
accessibility.
age.
You mean they can access
17
the social media.
Is the
age,
the limited age, the minimum age for them to have the social media's account. But we know exactly that mostly Indonesian children with younger age already have the Facebook account, Instagram account, Path account, which actually is not really appropriate for them. So actually the social media's provider has already has the understanding, consideration that not allowing children to have the social media's account, because children are not ready. Their brains are not ready. Their brains are still underdeveloped, under development. And then when their brain, when they're not fully formed brain accepting this content, of course they're not able to process it clearly and in a right way. So most of them, maybe this is also the reason why some of the terrorists in a young age, they can be recruited through this kind of social media's exposure.
But can you recognize the symptoms maybe of some that has maybe, you know, been, you can say, radicalized, that's experiencing the third phase of this exposure effects?
Well,
especially in young children.
Well, in the first reaction, some of them may be just having some physical reaction, like heart beating twice, and they get afraid, they get stressed, they get anxious. But some of them getting curious to know more, and it makes them would like to find more information about that. So this is also becoming the reason why young extremists is actually recruited.
That's how they actually recruit.
Yes,
one of the steps.
Yes, most of them are 16 to 17 because they're being exposed to this kind of negative content.
All right, now, Cassandra, there's still stress, there's still the cause of long-term effects such as traumatized and all that, but we'll talk more about that after the break. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. We're still with Cassandra here, and just now we spoke a lot about the effects of watching such vivid hard images. Now, what actually drives people to actually post up, you know, such pictures, such graphic images? And we don't just find them on television anymore right now. We find them on social media, accessible to all, like you mentioned, even children.
Because television is a formal media. Television is limited by rules. Formal journalistic television, radios, and newspaper are limited with the rules.
There are certain things that you can post.
With ethics,
yes, that's true.
Even in outside of the country, let's say for a European, American, they know this ethics already, and they don't share in social medias. For example, the Manchester incident. They do also have the social medias, but they don't share. So the problem is here with Indonesian people, because I think it's related to the social emotional intelligence. There is
just the culture, you would say.
Yeah, Indonesian people are mostly lacking of social emotional intelligence. We may be very intelligent intellectually, but the social emotional intelligence are not very high. So that's why they cannot control, they cannot they cannot hold their impulse not to share. It is becoming the kind of impulse control disorder when they receive and then they just panically or intentionally just share it to other people, disregarding that the content is very scary or even maybe giving impact on children. The social intelligence also not very high. That's why they cannot really understand what is the impact on other people. They just think that this is very important to share to make people understand, but they don't really understand what would the main impact on other people. So for example, also in our brain, human brain is processing information very fast and very unique. So when you receive the same information again and again and again, even if it's hoax, even it's not true, and then your brain will trust it, your brain will think it's true because it's coming again and again and again. So we have to really realize how the brain works, and we have to be very careful. But with the low social emotional intelligence, Indonesian people mostly, other reason is also education. People with higher education are expected to understand more about this, understand about the ethics that is not allowed to do so. And then the third thing is that Indonesia is actually having the legal, the law over this. We do have the ITE law. So when we are seeing this kind of people, it is very advisable to remind, to warn other people that, hey, when you're sharing this over social medias, Facebook, Instagram, or even WhatsApp group or other kind of social medias, there is an Indonesian regulation that can put you into trouble. You
With
could,
the law,
you could be, yes, you could be prosecuted because of that.
And can you recognize some of the experience? Like some people, for instance, myself, if I see someone send pictures such as that, I just, shun it away. But then does it actually stay in your brain? Does it actually leave some kind of mark? Even though you feel that, it doesn't affect you that much, seeing horrific images.
Yeah, but if you receive it again and again and again, your brain will think that's true. Because the process of human memory, keeping the memory, the first rule is just to have the repetition. When you have the repetition all the time, so your brain will keep that in mind, and then it will just go into your subconsciousness. And the second one, when you just throw it away and you don't do anything about it, you're just being silent. Well, we also been brainwashed that silent is gold. Yeah. But this is not the time to do that again. We have to speak up. We have to state our position here. Don't be part of the terrorism. When we are sharing, when we are actually also spreading the horrified scene, we are actually part of the terrorism.
Now, is there any way that we can discourage, let's say, if children or people to actually, stop looking at these images, or even people to stop sending such horrific images?
Firstly, remind him or them about the legal
legal steps for legal law.
The law.
Ethics,
the law and the ethics, And then you can say about the current findings, about the research about this, how brain function on this stimulation, about this content, and also about the terrorism itself. Because when you spread the terror and then people get anxious and get afraid of it, that is actually the purpose of the terrorism. When the bomb is exploded, it's not only taking the victim there. It's not only about that time disaster, but another indirect disaster is to spread the terror, to make a lot of people afraid, and then also allowing the recruitment itself.
So this is a strategic planning from them itself, yeah? All right, now Cassandra, we ran out of time, but thank you so much for sharing with us today.